Hey, what's up, nerds? This is Cody from Nerds with Friends, of course. A little bit of a different video for you guys. This is going to be kind of a short one, mostly so we can figure out some technical things with getting people interviewed on Zoom. So if you're actually seeing this, it means everything went well. If you're not, then, it's just our secret. Anyway, I decided to have one of my very best friends come on the show. His name is Nick Barber. And we wanted to talk a little bit about Star Trek. And as you know, Christian is not a huge fan of Star Trek. So it's nice for once to have someone who's a little bit interested. So hope you guys enjoy and let us know what you think. Please comment and subscribe. All the information at nerdswithfriendspodcast.com. Enjoy. Hey guys, and welcome to a special mini episode of Nerds with Friends. And of course, I'm Cody Leach. And I'm joined by my hetero life mate, Mr. Nicholas Barber. How are you, sir?
My hetero life mate, Cody Leach.
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Well, I kind of told our viewers, we won't be doing this audio style, just video style for the new millennium. Told them that, Christian really isn't a big Star Trek fan, and I love Star Trek so much, and it's nice to have, someone who I can really talk to who appreciates, Next Generation and Discovery, even Deep Space Nine and Voyager and all that good stuff. So,
yeah, certainly. Well, Christian, it's not too late. We can convert you if you'll let us.
Yeah,
if you'll let us.
I mean, it's really, it's hard to say this because I've been a Star Wars fan for so long that, Star Trek was always like something I also enjoyed. And it's now turning into something where I'm like, I think on a whole, Mandalorian's a really good thing, but on a whole, I think Star Trek, the quality of content, if you look at the whole canon of Star Trek content, I think it might be better than Star Wars.
The continuity is there.
Yeah. And there's so much of it. There's the original series, the animated series, there's Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Picard.
You're running out of fingers.
Destiny. I know, I'm running out of fingers. Then there's 8 or 9 movies.
In
the original series Next Generation timeline, and then there's 3 movies in the Kelvin timeline. So, and then now, of course, we have the Lower Decks as well, which is the newest.
Lower Decks. Oh my gosh, the best. So funny.
It's so good. And I mean, I think we're living in a golden age of Star Trek, because the movies, aside from maybe the third Kelvin one, were some of the best Star Trek movies out there, cinematically and action packed and all that stuff. And then now we for the first time in I don't know how long, we have 3 ongoing Star Trek television shows, even though they're streaming. But we have Picard, Discovery, and Lower Decks, which are all fantastic overall. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on today was Star Trek Discovery Season 3 just finished, and I feel like maybe a lot of people, we're all looking for content right now because obviously we're quarantining. There's not a lot of new movies coming out, and the ones that are coming out happen to be, Wonder Woman 1984, which
was the best. I've heard your podcast, man.
It
was. You can't miss it, and I can't wait to watch it with you at your house.
It's never going to happen. I hate it so much. But it's
pile
of garbage. Yeah. I got some heat on the internet for calling it a hot pile of garbage. Maybe it was too forceful language, but I think because we're so starved for content, having Discovery, which is now 3 full seasons of 10, 12 episodes a piece, and having Picard, which is done with its first season, already renewed for a second season, and then having the Lower Decks too. Like, people can sign up for the $5.99 CBS All Access app and do 1 month and just blast out hella Star Trek.
So good.
It's a really, really good time to be a Star Trek fan, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no doubt. It's and like you, I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. It was always around.
Yeah.
Back in middle school, high school, Next Gen was on TV. Was exposed to it a little bit, but didn't really, I guess, understand it really. Yeah. I like sci-fi, I like space stuff. It just seemed really far out there. It wasn't until really college, being able to see everything at once, right. Not having to wait to see it on TV to really absorb all the material, that I became, such a big fan, for sure.
Well, I think it's one of those, series where, watching it one time through, you get like a surface level appreciation for it. Oh, cool. They're flying through space, fighting aliens, whatever. Then, the second time through it, you're like, oh, this actually kind of relates to the world we live in. And the third time through, you're like, oh my God. I mean, This was so ahead of its time. Gene Roddenberry and I think it's Brannon Braga and some other guy who are the main writers of it now, were so ahead of their time in their thought process, their outlook on what the future of humanity could look like, that, it's one of those shows that even now you can watch it and be like, oh man, I wish the world turned out this way.
Yeah. Their sense of morality is so consistent. And that's what I relate to the most, especially now with all this shit going on in the world.
Yeah.
That no matter your upbringing, your creed, your whatever, it's all a really good, positive experience. And there's no crazy Christmas special like some other Star Universe galactic adventures with 30 minutes of super fucked up, like
Wookiees talking to each other in
family.
Wookiees.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
Eat a little gummy and watch that and freak out. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think now they did have Captain Picard Day, which is its own holiday in its own right. But I think you're right. They
really? I didn't know that. What is
it's where all the kids of the Enterprise paint macaroni like portraits of Captain Picard, and and he hates it because he hates children. But then what's cool is when you watched Picard, right? The show Picard.
I watched like half of it, to be honest. It became a show about Jean-Luc, and not a Star Wars or Star Trek, show. And
I agree with that.
I don't know. I didn't stick with it all the way, but
you should. There's some really good stuff in there, and I think it's going to go even further. But one of the cool things is he goes at one point in the show, this doesn't really spoil anything. He goes into like this locker of stuff that he's saved, he's got his old, uniforms in it or whatever. And then it's got, you can see in the background, there's the sign of Captain Picard Day that he has kept this entire time.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that for sure.
So it's cool.
Because that was from Next Gen into,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's and cool. I think one of the reasons that show, was a little slow getting off its feet is, it's one of those things where we have to catch up with what he's been doing these past, 30 years, 40 years.
Chateau Picard. What's he doing over there?
Yeah, exactly.
With the Romulans, right?
With the Romulans, yep.
Yeah, with Romulan
assassin
refugees.
Like manservants. Yeah. So I think season 2 will be even better now that it's kind of the proof of concept is there. But let's talk Star Trek Discovery real quick.
Nice.
And we're going to be spoiling some of these some of the seasons 1, 2, and 3. So if you haven't watched it, I just recommend going and watching it, enjoying it. But we're going to be talking heavily about season 3, which just wrapped up on CBS All Access. So spoiler alert. I
just peed a little.
Yeah. So tell me, what are your thoughts on Star Trek Discovery as a series as a whole? Like, are you a fan generally?
Yeah.
Do you have qualms with it?
So I guess generally speaking, I love it. It's something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I may be alone in this, but I love how it's released once a week. Friday, it comes out Thursdays, but I'd watch it on Fridays as an appetizer going into seeing Mando.
Yeah.
So Friday nights it was Discovery and then Mando. So
Really
very
lined up,
much like that.
lined up really well this time.
Style. It's great. Yeah, it's perfect. It was only displaced by a couple weeks when they both concluded. But Discovery's killer. I loved the first season. I was hooked right away. I loved the stylization, which is sort of like the J.J. Abrams movies, where it's a lot of shiny, cool, very futuristic looking stuff, even though it chronologically
obviously
takes place way before
Kirk.
I think it's before even the original series, right?
Right, because when the Enterprise comes in season 2, Captain Pike is the captain, and if you go back and watch the original series, the first pilot episode of Star Trek, Kirk is not the captain. Captain Pike is.
Pike is, exactly. With the brains. Brain dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they totally do in Discovery.
Right. The callbacks are one of my favorite parts. Obviously there's things that touch base on, Next Gen and Voyager, like the Trills were just, introduced in this season.
The Trills are so sick.
Which are
I love it.
Big time in Deep Space Nine with Jediah Dax. And then of course they have, your Klingons and Romulans, Vulcans, there's a little something in there for everyone. So I think
they give you something to grab onto. It's not completely like, what am I? You get a compass out the gate, which is nice.
Right. And, I'm a fan of it overall. And I think that any Star Trek fan will enjoy it. And this new season, definitely had some really cool stuff, because now they've actually, again, spoiler alert, but they've gone they've gone into the future past any Star Trek that we've seen so far. So they're like 1,000 years into the future or something like that.
It's crazy. I did not ever consider that as a possibility, which they alluded to at Comic-Con when we were there at the panel.
Right.
They said, we're going to take this as far as, further than it's ever been taken before.
Right.
And I didn't really know what that meant. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then watching it, holy shit. Like, they definitely are thinking outside of the box.
Right.
With the writing, with the chronological, display of everything that's happening. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a watch. But as good as it is, I still have some things that I don't like about it, which I often
Cody,
I often talk to you about.
Critiques?
I have a couple critiques. This coming from a guy who famously is not a fan of Temple of Doom, the Indiana Jones movie.
You converted me. I now share that opinion, because now when I watch it, it's cringe.
Oh, it's so cringy.
Watching
also, it's
the female role
super
in the first
racist.
One compared to the second
it's
one.
racist and sexist, and it's just a poorly made movie.
It's so bad.
Also,
I can't watch it now and enjoy it. It's just a parody.
Yeah. Also, quick, tirade on Temple of Doom. It came out chronologically, the events of Temple of Doom take place like 1 or 2 years before Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so he's, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's like, I don't believe all this, superstitious mumbo jumbo. I'm like, dude, you were literally involved in a supernatural, crazy Indian death cult thing, so it's like, it's so stupid. Anyway, no, enough Indiana Jones talk. So with Star Trek Discovery, one of my main issues with it is the main character, and more so the fact that there is a main character. So Michael Burnham, played by, I forget what her name is, Sequoia something Green, who was very good in Orange is the New Black. I don't know if you ever watched that show or not. It's not very Star Trek-y.
I don't watch sad things.
Yeah, it was fucking sad.
Adventure Time, Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing is, so she is supposed to be playing a...
She was in Waking Dead, right? Or Walking Dead?
Maybe that's what she was in. I can't remember now. Maybe she's in both. I can't remember.
She does have chops, though. I know you're not into it, but
I think she's a good actress. I think that the character that they wrote for her is not a good character. I think that's the main differentiation that I need to put out there, because all the other characters in the show are awesome. Like Saru.
Saru. Oh
Saru
yes, I
is
knew you were
so
gonna say it.
good.
Yeah,
He
his
is.
walk
I-
is the
Oh,
coolest.
the
With
walk
his
where he's like,
behind the
he's
walk.
got
Yeah,
the
man, I
arms
love it.
behind him.
Yeah, I do that now at the
Yeah,
store. It's great.
yeah, and
Need to find some milk.
I like Tilly. I like the pilot and co-pilot chicks. I don't
Oh
remember their
yeah,
names.
totally. With
The
the
one with the
Skrillex haircut.
robot thing on her
Yeah,
face.
totally. Love it.
And then I love that Tig Notaro is now in the engineering too, because her playing off what's his name? I can't think of the main engineer guy. I can't think of his name. But
Jordy?
which one? Not
Jordy?
Jordy is the main engineer guy.
Forever.
Forever.
Never will not be.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I love Jordy is greater than Scotty. Sorry,
Always.
not
He's
sorry.
Scotty, whatever.
But the main thing is that there's a main character. Michael Burnham is the main character of this show. Everything revolves around her. Everything that happens because of her. And that's one thing that the other Star Trek shows never really had. You know, yes, obviously Kirk and Spock were a big part of the original series, but there was episodes based around Bones and Scotty, and that show wouldn't be what it is without the whole cast. Uhura.
Yeah, the rotation.
Right.
Yeah.
Next Gen, exactly the same thing. I've argued several times that Next Gen is almost the story of Data finding his humanity and Picard like helping him along the way. Sure. But I mean, there are episodes that feature just Data and Geordi. There's ones that are just Riker and Worf. There's ones that are just Picard. There's each. Every crew member had their time to shine. You had Beverly and Deanna Troi in the gym room doing yoga or whatever. Jazzercising in the future.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm still not old enough to watch that scene, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Best scene in all of Star Wars or Star Trek. I'll include Star Wars. Best scene in all of Star Wars. But the thing is everything revolves around her. They even made it so that she is like Spock's adopted sister, which, I get what they were trying to do, and now seeing kind of how they dealt with the future of Vulcan in this newest season. It makes sense to have that tie to him, but also it's like, okay, so Spock was only Spock because of his cool adopted sister, Michael Burnham, that he never mentions.
That was a real far-fetched concept for me, for sure. I went with it because I like it. Mm-hmm. Like, I love Spock. I love the idea of split humanity Vulcan sort of ascending, becoming new, and bridging the gaps between just intellectualism and like being a cool human. But yeah, I thought that could have been reversed, right? Spock is the shit, and Michael Burnham is really cool too. But it seemed like they were putting all of the focus on Michael, because she's the main character. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And then I think, another thing that recently happened, like this is super spoilers, but now Saru was the captain as he led them into the future, and then now Michael's captain, and it's like, she literally made some of the worst decisions throughout the entire show. And I guess an argument can be made that Kirk made some terrible decisions too, especially in the Kelvin timeline. But
when you don't believe in a no-one scenario, what are you going to do?
That's true. The Kobayashi Maru.
That's right.
So those are my main problems with it primarily. I mean, I think the show overall is great. Also, I think that she overacts like a lot as that character.
I was going to say, yeah, that's, I like that. That's where our opinions are a little different, because everything that happens is a fucking emergency.
Right.
And I think it's cool. Like, as everybody else is a little dynamic, but I totally see what you mean. Everything is like, oh my God.
Also, she grew up with Vulcans. So let's keep those emotions down at a manageable level.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a little contradictory.
Yeah. So
changing my mind, Cody Leach.
I think overall it's a very good show. I think everyone should watch it, and the Lower Decks and Picard. I think they're all great. Lower Decks is like kind of like a Family Guy in the Star Trek universe, or without like swearing and stuff. Not as raunchy, but still really funny, and lots of good jokes in
It's so funny because it doesn't need that. The writers are so sharp with the humor that, basic on the surface or deep fans of Next Gen would really get, know? Like they definitely know what they're doing. And it's the Rick and Morty guy, right?
He's one of the guys.
Or something? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there you go. It's they know what they're doing.
Cool, man. Well, enjoy. Everyone should watch Star Trek. It's like I said, it's the golden age of watching Star Trek on TV again. It's awesome that there's so much content out there. So pay the $5.99 or whatever for CBS All Access, or maybe pay for the no commercials version because those suck. And watch yourself a crap ton of Star Trek. Nick, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the invite.
And thank you for always being my number one.
You are my number one.
Number one. All right, Nick. Well, thanks for joining me. And until next time.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. Take it easy, nerds.